Welcome to the Book Buzz Show with Cheryl, where we dive into the captivating world of books. Here at the Book Buzz Show, we encourage you to make your pages turn with joy and immerse yourself in a magical literary experience. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Book Buzz Show with Cheryl, where we dive into the captivating world of books. Here at the Book Buzz Show, we encourage you to make your pages turn with joy and immerse yourself in a magical literary experience. Enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome to the Book Buzz Show. I'm your host, Cheryl Brooks. And if you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. And if you enjoy the upcoming show, please like, follow, subscribe, and share the broadcast so others can know about it as well. We are going to be talking today about the books in the series as well as the characters. So there will be spoilers just so you'll know ahead of time. So if you haven't read the books, then you may want to wait until you check those out, unless you don't somebody who doesn't care about spoilers. But we will be getting into the characters and the books. Okay, and let's see. Also, I just want to let you know that this episode is being brought to you in partnership with Black Odyssey Media. And here is their logo. And when you get a chance, please check out their roster of authors. I know if you're like me and you're always looking for a new author, give their authors a look, and you can check them out at blackodyssey.net. All right. Also, tonight or today, we will be talking with author Mallory Monroe about her books in the Gabrini and Sinatra World series. Here's the cover of the first book in the Gabrini series that started it all, Romancing the Mob Boss. And this still tops my top favorites of the series. So it was good getting reacquainted with this book because it had been a while since I had read it. But that's the cover for those who are watching. If you're listening, again, the name of the book is Romancing the Mob Boss by Mallory Monroe. All right, and without further ado, let me bring on today's guest, Mallory Monroe, and my co-host for this evening, Katina Brown. One moment, bring them to the stage. Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
All right. Welcome. Well, I think I had you on mute, Mallory. Thank you, Mallory, for joining us today. It's a pleasure to talk to you finally, because like I said off screen, I've been a fan of this book series for a while, so I look forward to talking to you about it.
Okay.
Bring this on the screen. Right. It looks like we have some people in the audience.
A lot of people.
Check that out first before we get started. All right. We have Frances. Hi, Frances. Thank you for joining us. She says she loves your books. We have Nicole in the audience. Yes. Hey, Shirley, Mallory, love Reno, Tommy, Sal, Luca. Yes. Love them all. Love all of them. Yes. Amy, hello. Thank you for joining us. Purple Jam Girl, thank you for joining us. Let's see. Who else would we have out here? Ola, thank you for joining us. It's another one that you're going to have to check out, because believe me, you're going to love you some Reno and the rest of the gang. We have Shirley Briggs. I'm glad you could join us, Shirley. Thank you for joining us. All right. And then it looks like we have a couple of Facebook users. Just go to the description right underneath this live, and you can click the link to give StreamYard permission to show your face so we know who you are. And another Facebook user, same thing. If you go to the description, you can click the link so we'll know who you are. Thank you for joining us. All right. So, because we have a lot to get into, let us get. Oh, wait a minute. Look like we got a few.
Got a few more. We got.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Tracy. Thank you for joining us. Valerie, thank you for joining us. Vivian, thank you for joining us. We have a Facebook user saying she loves your books. Again, if you go to the description, click the link to give StreamYard permission to show your face so we know who you are. All right, so we'll get right into it. So can you give us a little background, Mallory, on your writing journey? I know you write under different names, but how did you actually get started? And what was your first book that you put out?
Okay, well, first and foremost, I would like to give honor to God Almighty and to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I want to thank him for gifting me with the gift to write, the talent to write. And I also want to thank him for sustaining me as a writer all of these years. First, I began my writing career with my very first book, Plenty Good Room. It was published by Furet Press out of Seattle. And I want to say it was back in 1996. So I've been on this journey, my professional career, for nearly 30 years.
Okay.
Wow.
And let me think. I believe that was the beginning. That was the very first Plenty Good Room.
And you said you were through a publisher. So did you shop the book around first?
Oh yes, got plenty of rejections, and stuck with it. And then finally, Stephen Murray, who is at that time was the publisher of Furet Press, loved it, published it, and that was my beginning. And I may have the date wrong, but I believe it was 1996.
Well, I'm so grateful that you stuck with it.
Yeah.
I am
Thank
too.
you. Thank you.
I am too.
Oh my God.
It's amazing to me because I've talked to several authors that have said that too, that when they shopped it around at first, they got a lot of no's.
Oh, yes.
But
of
they
course.
stuck with, yeah. Mm-hmm. So you have to be thick-skinned, I see, too.
Oh, you do. Oh, you do.
Do you remember how long was it from the time that you actually sat down to write the book, then the time that you actually put it out, decided to publish it?
Oh, my years.
Okay.
I liked confidence early on. Mm-hmm. It was my husband who propelled me to just finish this book already, you know. Mm-hmm. And so I finished it. That's why it's amazing I have written so many books. It's nothing but the grace of God, because I was not a finisher. I was someone who kept going on and on and on, reworking. And then finally, my husband, God rest his soul, he propelled me forward and said, just do it. And that's when I submitted it. Got all those rejections. I was saying, what did I do? But then eventually I realized it was a good decision to make.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And that is to have a supportive partner is so important. I found that out myself in everything that I've been doing. It makes a world of difference.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now I know you write. Do you still write under different names, or is it just Mallory Monroe now?
Mallory Monroe exclusively now. Yeah, okay. But back then I was writing under Mallory Monroe, Catherine Cacciatore, J.T. Watson, Yvonne Thomas. I was in my own name, Teresa McLean Watson. So I was doing the gamut. I began my career under Teresa McLean Watson. I think I wrote my first 8 books with the New York publishers under that name. And then when I branched out on my own is when I started using Mallory Monroe and the other pen names.
Okay. And was that just because you started writing like different genres and you wanted to separate?
Well, I did not want the fans I had built with my name to confuse the writing. I began writing Christian fiction, African American romance, which was a cluttered. When I started, it was so many writers in that space.
Oh, really? Okay.
That it was so hard to break through. I had good publishers, especially BET Books. They were excellent, but it was so hard to break through. When I began writing interracial romances, when I kind of broke through with the Mallory Monroe, and even Catherine Cacciatore had some good successes early on too. And then after that, I just had to pick a name. So I picked Mallory, and I said, I'm just going with her. And her for years,
Okay.
Now, was that a take on Marilyn Monroe, or that was
It was a take on Marilyn Monroe.
That's
Yes,
what I was
it was.
thinking. Yeah.
You got it.
Awesome.
Yep, I always
That's
wondered
exactly what happened. I didn't mean to do it, but I said, instead of Marilyn, she's Mallory.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
Now, with so many characters, how do you do a character Bible and an outline to keep everything straight throughout the different series?
I outline, but I do not do a character Bible. Have never done a character Bible. I outline, try my best to keep it all together. But I did not early on do a character Bible. And it's kind of difficult to go back and try to do it when you're still moving forward with books.
Oh, yeah.
So that is the problem I ran into. I wish to God I could have done it at the beginning.
Right.
But once I realized I should have done it, I was like 50 books in. And then I did 50 more. Then I did 50 more. So it was just like,
Yeah.
you know.
But
and
I assume, no, since the series has been going on so long, know that you become so familiar with
that's what I try
in
my
that
best to
world,
rely
yeah.
on. Yes.
Mhm.
But I would recommend a character Bible. Had I done it, I would have recommended one.
Yeah, because you figure that you're always bringing in new characters and stuff. So
Correct.
yeah,
And it's just
And
it builds and it builds. Yes, I know Brenda Jackson does the character tree, you know, and I said brilliant, you know, but I never did it. That was
now, do you have any like writing quirks or routines that you have when you write that you have to have like a favorite item or something like that?
None. The only thing I need is prayer first, and then early morning. I write early morning. That is my best writing. I can do some in the afternoon, but it's not, you know, and my best time is early morning.
Yeah, because you know, I hear a lot of people say that they're more creative early on.
No noise, no distractions. You know, you get up 2, 3 in the morning and just get started, and it's just wonderful. Wonderful.
Now, how do you balance though? How do you? But with writing, it can be so isolating. How do you make sure that you stay like connected to family, friends, and making sure you eat? Because I've heard other authors say that too, that they've been in there so long that they forget to eat and all that kind of stuff.
I don't forget to eat. Now, that I have no problem doing. That is not an issue for me. But I can get isolated. Now that is an issue that I'm working on because I'm a loner by nature.
Okay.
And then you put on top of that a lonely profession where you must do it alone. Then it can. I'm working on that for sure.
Now
it's this late date. I'm still
this late date. You're a work in progress. That's right.
A work in progress always.
Now, with the type of world that you created with Reno and the rest, what type of research did you do in the beginning to get a feel for what the mob culture is like, and the Italian mob in particular? If anything.
That's the grace of God, because I didn't do any research in the beginning, and I didn't do it on purpose, because I knew I could not emulate that world. I didn't know it. I could, and reading books on it, that would to me, that would hamper me. Sometimes we can get too cautious in our writing. So I said, I'm just going for it. I'm just basing it on. Now I did it was one movie in particular. I think Robert De Niro was in this movie, The Goodfellas.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
favorite of
Martin
mine. Yeah.
Scorsese, I think. And in that, I had looked at the cadences of those Italian actors, and that helped a lot for me to say, okay, for Reno specifically, because he's so bombastic. So I knew I had to come hard with him. So with his character, there was no holding back. So I heard those cadences and that helped me some. But for the most part, it was just going hard and making him larger than life. And then in creating his world, if I'm good and I make it believable enough, then the readers will go along in that world. It doesn't have to be the exact mob world that I know little about. It has to be the mob world that I create that becomes the mob world.
Okay.
And then once you do that, then you've succeeded. But it's not easy to do. But once you do it, then I feel like you've succeeded.
And Reno's character in particular, that's what made me fall in love with the rest of them, because he's still the standard as far as I'm concerned of what.
Same for me. Same.
I've heard that before. Yeah.
Yeah. So you did a great job with him. Now I will ask you this though, and this is because it came to my mind, even though we're not into the book yet. It seems like his character is a little different now than he was in the beginning, because he wasn't as like it seems like you putting in a little bit of the what's the word, lighthearted moments, like with him and Sal. Was that intentional to bring that in later on?
I think that happened because of Sal, not Reno. I think that Reno, I mean, when I introduced Sal and Tommy, when I introduced them on the scene, Sal was jealous of Reno because of his relationship with Tommy. And as a result, because, Tommy and Reno were best friends. And although they were related, but they were best friends. So as a result of that, Sal then became like a puncher up to Reno, just constantly.
Yeah, so they had more.
There you go. And then the tension began. And instead of it being a negative tension, I just made it a kind of funny tension. But the tension was there because of that. And now it's just tension for tension's sake.
Yeah, because I was like, wait a minute. In the beginning of the series, they were, even though they loved each other because they were cousins.
Oh, for sure.
They have more of a, their relationship was more serious than it is.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, because they were definitely ride or die for each other.
Most definitely.
Yeah. That is so true.
Now,
they were. It's kind of like the relationship you have with someone. Like, I can talk about my husband, but
nobody else.
Right. And, you basically describe Reno and Trino's relationship too.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, they are a lot like that too.
Purple Gem Girl saying that's a good word for Reno. Bombastic. Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
And then Ebony is saying Tommy is her man. Now, how do you balance some of the darker themes in the series with the romance?
Because I think every one of my books are character driven, not plot driven. So when I do a character driven book, everything rises and falls on the characters, not the plot. So the darker portions of it are not the characters, it's the plot, which has become secondary. At least if I'm succeeding, it becomes secondary to the characters. So once I start writing and the characters are fully developed, they are like dripping off of the pages with personality, then the plot would take care of itself. And the plot is the darker side because, the profession demands it,
Right.
And so I try to balance it by keeping the characters as moral as possible, they don't come for you unless you come for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that kind of mentality, that they are not just bloodthirsty, you know, thieves and killers. And I don't write those kind of characters.
Right.
These are characters who would not do wrong except you do wrong to them.
To them,
Now,
right.
they do questionable business dealings, you know, mixing up.
Well, that's part for the chorus, yeah.
But it's character driven more than plot.
Now you already kind of answered this because I was going to ask you what mafia movies do you like? Is Goodfellas one of your favorites?
That's my favorite. That
Yeah.
I also like Casino.
Oh yeah.
I think that was another De Niro movie, and and I like recently. I think Martin Scorsese teamed up with this old gang, Pesci and De Niro, and they did The Irishman. And
I heard about that. I didn't
too.
watch it.
That's a good movie. I like that one too. It's not as great as Goodfellas and Casino, but it was a good movie too. But I don't generally watch movies. I'm more into documentaries. But when I do watch them, watch any mob movies, those are the three that I watch.
Yeah, those are some good ones. Some of my favorites too. I was surprised you didn't say The Godfather though. Most.
Oh yeah.
Never really watched that one. I have seen pieces of it, but I never really. And The Sopranos, never. Never.
I love The Sopranos. Yeah,
no,
but let's see.
Or something like a Scarface, maybe.
Scarface, definitely.
Oh,
really?
That, but I
you have to check that one. Yeah, Al Pacino did a great job in that.
Great job.
I'm trying to think of one of your characters who I would think would be similar to Scarface.
Probably Reno.
Mick.
Well, you know what? A cross between Reno and Mick.
Right.
Yeah. Scarface would be a Mick, huh? Okay. So he was crazy. But gotcha.
Let's see. Nicole said, waiting for the youngest Gabrini son, a little genius mob boss in the making.
Carmine? Yeah.
Carmine, that's what she's talking about.
Coming.
Yeah.
And Amy is telling Nicole she agrees with that. We have a Facebook user who is saying Sal Reno Teddy. It's saying Sal Reno Teddy. It's saying you got a list though. Again, if you wanted to know who you are, make sure to click the link so we can see your face and know your name. And then Nicole is saying, I think he'll make Reno stand up straight. She's talking about Carmine.
I'm assuming, yeah.
Somebody is saying they love all your books.
Oh, okay.
Another Facebook user saying Mick is hers, and then Francis saying
Carmine.
Yes, Carmine. Okay, they love them some Carmine. I see. Okay. Now, did you have any celebrity inspirations for like Reno and Trina's characters when you first came up with the look of how they were going to look?
No. I really didn't. No, I can't think of anyone. I can't. No, I don't think so. Sometimes I'll mention a movie star just to help the audience picture this person.
Right.
If I'm having a bit of a trouble, identifying the person, but I don't generally do it, or I don't think I did it with Reno and Trina that I can recall.
Yeah, because I know with Mick, you said he looked like Cary Grant, and I had put a picture up in the group once of a really dashing Cary Grant picture. And people were like, love that. People were eating it up. But I couldn't remember you doing that with Reno and Trina. That's why I asked.
I can't recall that either. Maybe because they were so early on,
Yeah. Tracy is saying The Bronx Tale is good. Yeah, I watched that a long time ago.
That one, that was good.
And then Nicole, Carmine needs to do something with Dami right now. Mick has him in check. You get some suggestions in the
They email me too.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone.
You're passionate about it.
Yeah.
Mhm, they are.
That's a testament to your right.
Oh,
But
I thank God Almighty. I truly do.
now, what do you know now that you wish you had known earlier on when you first started out?
That I should have done a character Bible. That is number one. Early on, I began writing at the age of 9 when my big brother, Fred McLean Jr., came home with a book, one particular, but he was a bookworm. He came home with one particular book called Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman, the play.
Okay.
And I opened that book and just was fascinated with the language, the words, and you could just picture it, it just came off the pages. And I started writing ever since that moment at the age of 9.
That's awesome.
And I never stopped writing. So it was a lot to learn down through the years, but that character Bible would have made life so much easier.
So much easier. That's a big
back in my day, we would writers were doing 3 books per series. They did 3 and done.
Right.
And they moved on to the next series.
Right.
Well, I decided I'm going to break that mold a little. And then I never dreamed it would be 10, 15, 20 in one series, And as a result, that's when that Bible, the character, organization would have been, the character tree would have been great. That would have been great. But that would be my biggest regret, I think, that I didn't do that.
And I'm
trying to do it now.
Say it would be too much.
I'm trying to remember put it on anybody.
Which book came out first? Because I can't remember if I read Romancing the Mob Boss or the President's Girlfriend.
I thought it was The President's Girlfriend. Was that?
Oh, wow. Don't quote me on this, but I'm almost certain it was The President's Girlfriend.
Okay, so maybe I started with that first. I couldn't remember.
I think it was The President's Girlfriend. That was the first series.
Okay.
And then Romancing the Mob Boss came after that. I would have to look up the date on it, but I think that's right.
So you got your feet wet a little bit with him, even though he was the president. He was no joke, and
that's right.
He took you in that basement.
Yes.
In that basement, and you were done for.
Right. So he was the inspiration probably to those mob boss books. Yeah, because he didn't play, but I think he came first, if I'm not mistaken. I think he came first.
And Gina,
you're writing a new book I'm sorry, Katina.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. No.
Okay. If you're writing a new book every month, it's hard to go back. Like some people would write me and they would say, what happened? What happened? Which book did this happen in?
Oh,
and I might have written that book 20 books ago. And trying to go back, it's like I spend all the time I have to write. If you're going to get a book out once a month, when we used to get them out once a year.
Right.
We used to have an entire year. Remember, we used to have an entire year to write a book. Nowadays, a book every month, that's, you're going to have to be committed to writing. I'm not on social media except for my Facebook page and my website. That's it. No Instagram, no Twitter, formerly known, I don't X, social, I don't do any of those, I just stick with writing.
And because you churn them out pretty fast. Let's see.
I try to every month.
Ola's saying how many books in this? Ola, it's so many.
Girl,
it's a lot.
She is a new one to the series, Mallory, and she supports me when I do my shows, and she has gained some new authors. So she likes to print books. So are your books all of them in print?
All of them, pretty much all of them are in print. Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So you in luck, Ola, on that one. But it's a lot. But it start with romance. The cover that I put up, Romancing the Mob Boss.
Correct. That was the first series in the interracial Mob Boss series, and the Sinatra and Gabrini series. Yes.
Yeah, because it all spins off of that book and that world.
Right.
Let's see. And I'm pretty sure she can get the order on your website, right?
Correct. She can go to the website and the different series that she wants. Now they interact and they different timelines. I try to tell people, don't think that they all, like if a Reno book stops.
Right.
Don't think that the Mick Sinatra book will pick up where Reno left off.
Right.
The Tommy book will pick up where Sale left off. It doesn't work that way. It's like series in and of themselves.
Right.
And so it lists the Rags to Romance series. It lists the, Tommy, Sale, Reno series.
Alex, all of them.
Alex,
and that's another one of mine too. Alex, yeah.
All of them have the in and of themselves series.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, all of
them. So Ola, they interconnect, and we read a lot of series like that anyway. So
right.
Interconnected, correct, but they don't pick up where the other one left off. Right. Hardly ever, yes.
Right. Carolyn is saying Dutch was the man. Yeah, he was, and he loved him.
The President's Girlfriend. Yeah. And remember, I did one book called The President's Boyfriend.
I think I read that.
Yeah, female president, and her mob boss boyfriend.
Yes, I remember that.
I plan to do another, and I've been asked a lot to do another in that series, and I do plan on it.
Now, you did give us a little update, a little bit on Dutch when he came. So you surprised us in Tommy's book, I believe it was. Tommy and Sam.
Right. Did a little bit.
Yes, I was so excited about that. But do you any plans to bring him back into the Sinatra and Gabrini world?
I might. I don't know. It fluctuates. I might, because I love that character.
Yeah,
and like she says, the president's Vivian Breeding says the president's girlfriend was scandal before its time.
Yes.
But remember, the president's girlfriend was first. It was a couple of years before Scandal.
But that's a good comparison. You're right.
It really is. It's an excellent comparison. Yeah.
Purple Jam Girl says she read the President's Girlfriend series first, then she went back to something. Okay, I think I did too. I'll have to look.
Yeah, I think that was first. Yeah, before Reno. Yeah, I think.
Amy said, Ola, she has at least 5, but more than that. Oh, at least 5. Well, she had way more than 5. Oh, you mean
way
5
more than
5? Maybe Amy means 5 different series.
Maybe,
yeah.
Okay, because I'm like, it's way more than 5.
Oh yeah, I mean Reno alone has 22 or 26
books. 19, 20, yeah.
Valerie said it has to be Reno. I don't know which. I don't know what you mean, Valerie, when you say that, but yeah, I agree. I love Reno. I don't know if that's what you meant by that, but Frances is saying she's read them all.
Oh, good.
Let's see. Some of them ask some questions about the character, but we'll get into that when we get into the characters you are. Okay. Now, what advice would you give to someone just starting out in their writing journey?
I would tell them to be true to themselves. Don't get caught up in fads and trends. And, I remember one time it was like a wolf trend and paranormal trend. Well, they still strong. Don't get me
right, because I love those too.
Right. They're very strong. Yes. But I'm saying if that's not you, don't try to do that. That's not me. I don't do that. Right. And so just stay true to yourself. Keep it simple. Right from the heart. Trust the Lord that he's going to lead you down the right path in terms of that talent that he gave to you. Because I can remember when I started writing, it was writers who were giving their books away basically for free or for 99 cents just to get a readership. And it usually didn't work out. Because once you start giving that sugar away from free, they're going to keep wanting that. And so I just feel that when God bless you with a talent, don't sell it cheap. You trust that talent. You trust that you're going to be okay. If you stay true to yourself, you do your work, do the work, put in the work. And if you're willing to put in the work hard and do not put anything out there that's not ready to go. And if you put out only the best of yourself, then you'll do well. But if you don't, if you're just putting it out to get it out, Are you chasing money, or you're
Mm-hmm.
chasing fame? I don't chase fame. I don't chase money. I just do the work. And if you do that, to me, God will take care of the rest. And
I
my
love that.
recommendation: keep it simple and be yourself to the new writers.
I love that. Love it. Love it.
Mhm.
Now, what keeps you motivated in life and in your writing?
My relationship with my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. That's what keeps me going on my day to day. My beautiful church and my church family. I just love going to church every Sunday. And it's just simple things in life.
Right, right, right.
I love driving my car out by myself and just enjoying my music. Just little simple things like that is what I
Hmm.
enjoy. Nothing
Um,
spectacular.
I noticed too, now that you mentioned music, because I love music as well, and I love when authors introduce, incorporate music into their work. And I noticed that you do that a lot in Alex's,
A lot.
in Alex's books. Yes, and I
Mhm.
love
I
that.
do a lot of that. Yeah. I
Hmm.
do it because it can capture a moment for me. You know
Yes.
what I mean? It just a moment, and you always give your attribution, and you always, don't overdo it because that's someone else's work.
Right,
But
right.
you're making certain that they know who wrote it and who sang it. And then you just it gives that moment in time that I like. And
Hmm.
then I get off of it. But it's good for that
Because
purpose.
it, even from the reader standpoint, it puts you, you can visualize, at least for me, I
Mhm.
can visualize the scene. And because I'm trying to remember the scene with Alex and Carrie
I
when,
bet I know what you're talking about. I bet
yeah,
you're talking about when Carrie couldn't decide whether to get on that plane with Alex to go to New York for
Yeah.
that date. She
Mm-hmm.
just
yes,
met him, and
yes,
she was afraid, and she played Tracy Chapman's Fast Car.
yes.
Yes, 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 yes.
That that to me captured it too. I
I
love
love
Tracy
that.
Chapman. I love
I
Fast
do
Car.
Same,
too.
same.
I
And
do
I
too.
felt that, you know what I mean? We've got to make a
Hmm.
decision, leave
Mm-hmm.
tonight or live and die this way. That was the line. And she
Mm-hmm.
decided she was going to leave that night or
I
live
love
and
it.
die in her struggle. And
Love
she
it. Love
decided she was taking a chance on Alex Draco's, and she
it.
got on
Yes.
that plane, and
It
it changed her life.
Did
Yeah,
definitely
that
did.
was a
It
good
it
one.
definitely
really
did.
did?
Yeah.
Now, for those who are new to the series, like Ola, and there may be a few more in the audience, can you give an overview of what romancing the mob boss is about? What Reno's character is?
Yeah, Reno started off as an enforcer for his father. His father was a vicious mob boss, and Reno was his enforcer. And then one day, Reno, they had his father took some heat and had to move to, I think it was a small Georgia town. And while he was in this small Georgia town, his father, Reno came down, also. He was there with his father because his father was waiting until the heat was off so he could go back to his mob life. But right now, he was in hiding at one of these restaurants he owned. And so Reno was there with him, and Reno met one of the waitresses who was in the restaurant, and he and the waitress started talking. Then he caught his father decided to mistreat this young lady. I'll
Right.
just say
Mm-hmm.
that. Reno fought for the young lady,
Mm-hmm.
nearly almost could have killed his father, but he
Mm-hmm.
didn't. He decided to just leave. He was done. He was done with the mob world, he thought. And so he left and moved to Vegas, where he met the owner of the Bellagio Hotel and Casino on the Vegas Strip. And they started a relationship. She was a much older woman, and
Mm-hmm.
Reno began a relationship with her. And from that relationship, he became her general manager.
Mm-hmm.
And from that general managership, he eventually took over the Bellagio, owned it down the road, and then that's when Trina came into the picture. When he met
Yes, you
Trina,
did.
when
Yes.
she was a waitress in
Mm-hmm.
Vegas, and he
Mm-hmm.
was at this time a major casino owner, and he went to her restaurant. They met, and he just was bowled over by
Oh,
her.
right.
Went to her apartment, and the rest is history.
Yes. And Ola,
Literally.
let me tell you, and anybody else in the audience who is new to the series, we love us some strong couple
Right.
vibes. And believe me, Reno and Trina is like top notch as far
Top.
as that. And I love one thing I always admired with your books, Mallory Monroe, is that like with Trina, one of my I think I told you this in email, but we always talk about we give our favorite scenes and heartfelt moments and standout moments. So one of the standouts to me was how the scene where Trina in the beginning, where I think gunmen came into the penthouse. It was her, Reno's mother, one of Reno's sisters, and she knew to all of this, but her character, she knew that she had to protect. She wasn't even thinking about herself. She said she had to protect Reno's mother and his
Right.
sister.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
so
That's
she ran
true.
and she got Reno's gun out the drawer.
Yeah.
Now she has all these gunmen around her and stuff, but she stepped up, and man, that scene was so intense.
Yeah.
And
You wrote
you're right.
Yeah.
I purposely made Trina quite strong.
yes,
And she was kind of,
Did not need Reno, but she just wanted him.
right.
Oh yeah.
and she
Yes.
was kind of like the leader of the pack for the women.
Yes,
She really
still
is,
is.
yeah.
She
Yes.
really was.
Yeah.
She really was. Yeah.
Yes.
Very tough.
Very tough. And
She's like Trina is on this spectrum, and Grace is on the opposite
Yeah.
spectrum. But they both are important.
For sure.
yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Even though Grace showed us what she was made of in one of the later books.
She did.
Sure did.
Sure
She
did.
sure did.
But yeah, Trina, I love how her character, and she is very strong, and she steps up when she needs to step up. But she also lets Reno be the man in the household.
Right.
So I love that. I just love their dynamic, especially in the earlier books. I think I like their dynamic a little more in the earlier books.
Okay.
But and I just started doing rereads, so it's fresh in my mind.
I agree. I got you.
Yes, but yeah, love their relationship, and to me, they're still the gold standard as far as. Except I think Alex and Carrie come close because I love how they communicate, Alex and Carrie.
Yeah, they straight up with each other.
They don't play, they don't play games, and Alex tells her what the real deal is. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good too. Yeah.
Was that intentional to make it where, because with the other one, especially with Tommy, you know how he tried to keep Grace in the dark so much, and,
Right.
Even Reno to a certain extent with Trina, he tried to keep her.
It didn't work with Trina.
Right.
He was not having it. Not having it.
But yeah, that's what I like. I think the most about Alex and Carrie's character.
Oh, okay.
In their relationship.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
But let's see. We have some comments in the audience. I want to make sure to get them in here. Let's see. Going through them. Some of them already. Valerie is asking, will Oz get another book?
Will Oz have another book? Maybe. I'm not sure, Valerie. Perhaps. I haven't looked at the schedule for him yet.
Okay. Someone is asking, which book are we getting next month?
I know that's right.
They want a little sneak. They want a little
sneak.
Yes.
Well, all I can say is that it won't be a Gabrini or Sinatra, but it will, because I just did a Gabrini, but it will, because Sophia Gabrini, Please Don't Go, it just came out for this month. But it will be a Rags to Romance book. It'll be a standalone next month.
Okay.
And Francis is saying, does Douglas Spencer get a book?
Perhaps. I've thought about that. Perhaps he is an interesting character. So perhaps he will, Francis.
And let's see, Amy is saying she's happy that they're in print as well as Ola because she likes to
Yes,
hold
love
the
to
book.
hold the book. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
heard
I'm like that too. But
Hold it and smell it.
yeah,
that.
if you can see over here, I have a bunch of books just over here, and it's just
Well,
not
that was
even.
my plan until my husband, God bless him, he put ebook reader in my hand. I was a
Mm-hmm.
book hoard. I mean, not a hoarder, but I love books.
Yeah,
Had
me
too
too.
many. I was trying to figure out where am I going to put all these books because they keep piling up. And so
Yes.
my husband put that ebook reader. It was called an Argent back then. He put it in my hand and he said you could get 5,000 books on that one little machine. Now nowadays it's way more, but back
Right.
then it was like five. I said what? And I knew in that moment that we were
Mm-hmm.
not going back.
It
I
definitely
said, there's no
revolutionized,
way,
how we
there's
read.
no
Definitely.
way that this is not the future. And I had better grab onto that. And that's how I got into the ebook field. That's how I knew I could launch out on my own.
Yes.
Because of the ebook field. You know, if it wasn't an ebook field and we were just relying, because the print books are so much more entailing, so many different people have to be involved, that it's very difficult to launch out on your own if all you're doing are print books. But the ebook market changed the game. It changed.
I definitely agree with that. And even for me as a reader, because I never, at first I was a book snob with it. I'm like, I'm not touching those. But now, as soon as once I did, it's the convenience of it was just
within seconds your book is on your machine. I remember waiting 2 weeks for my book to arrive.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Or having to go out to the library or to the bookstore. Yes. So
it changed the game. It really did. I thank God for that invention. I really do.
Nicole said, "What's up with Amelia and Hammer? Is he going to get some act right?" Oh, they still, because I'm a little behind. I'm a little behind.
Yeah. Oh, they have always had a contentious relationship, and it has gotten to a breaking point. I'll say.
No, I was hoping they
well, not all the way breaking.
We'll see.
Oh no.
We'll see. But yeah, I'm working on that. You know, I do pieces of other books while I'm working on my main book. And that's one of the pieces I'm working on now.
Any future plans on Brent? She's asking. Any future plans on Brent Sinatra? There's something about him that is intriguing.
Yeah, I like Brent too. I think I did only 2 books on Brent, I think. Or one or 2.
Maybe one, I think.
Yeah, maybe just one. You may be right, Katina. I think I may have just done one, but I want to get back into his story and Michaela's story.
It was one that I wanted to ask you about though, and I'm behind because since I've been doing the shows, I read a lot for the store. But I don't know if you've already done this, but have you done a book on Donald yet?
No. Oh, I get that a lot. Donald Sinatra.
Yes.
I am going to do a book on him. I just have to figure out what direction I want to take his story. Once I get that clear in my head, then I am definitely doing a book on Donald. Because I get that a lot. It is some readers out there who really love to know what's going on with him.
Yes, and I'm ready. I just want him to grow up. I want him to get where he's,
Well, he in his father's, in a couple of his father's book, it was mentioned that he's now his own businessman and he's doing quite well.
That's right.
Yeah, in the business field. So he got away from the biker chicks and all of that. He's beyond that. He's well beyond that. So, but,
oh my goodness,
I haven't gone into any true details yet, but I will write a book, Lord willing, and He allow me to do it. I will write a book on him in the future.
Yes, and I who else I love that you introduced is Monk's character.
Monk Paletti. Yes, I love him too. I like writing his story and Ashley's story.
Yes.
I plan to write more Monk also.
Good.
Lord willing, it's a lot to write, but I plan
you have a lot,
because he was like the first one that kind of stood up to Mick. And I was like, whoa, who is this cat?
That's him. That's right.
Because he's a boss in his own right.
He's a boss.
Now, you notice what this Facebook user just said. She said, Sal and Alex are my favorite, along with the Rags to Riches series. And I always have to say, because I took it from Rags to Riches, but it's really Rags to Romance. Okay. And I tried to, and the book is, and I remember one reader wrote me and said, she's tired of, why does the lady always have to be broke? Or whatever, But that's the point of the whole story. The entire series, Rags to Romance, and I'll be brief on this. The entire series, Rags to Romance, is about the underdog. She's usually struggling. She's trying to make her way in the world, but she's struggling. And she meets this rich man in whatever capacity he's in, doctor, lawyer, billionaire, whatever the capacity is. She meets this rich man. That's the whole point of that series. It's not meant to be about people already got it together. But he's rich but broken, and she's struggling but broken. I made the woman struggling because it's the focus is usually on her and how she, overcomes. So that's why it's not Rags to Riches, but it's Rags to Romance series.
Oh, okay.
And it's a play on Rags to Riches, but it's Rags to Romance series. Yeah, but it's all about the romance between two broken people from different walks of life. Yeah,
I get that. We have someone telling us the answer. They said that the president's boyfriend the president's girlfriend.
Right. Was before the mom. Okay, good. I'm glad she clarified that, but yes.
And then Valerie is saying, well, you have a book on Teddy's son. I was talking about the number of books in the okay. She was explaining to me what she was saying.
I may have a book on his son down the road. He's an interesting character too. So yes.
Let's see. Someone is saying Reno is their all-time favorite. Mine too.
I get that a lot. Yeah.
But you know what I wanted to ask you too, and I don't know if you've already done this because like I said, I'm a little behind, but and then I had some health issues where I was a whole year behind. So, so I'm playing catch up. Did you ever do Jimmy's story? Because that's what I want, Jimmy.
I never did. I did a book called Reno's Son or something like that when it was about Jimmy. But it was a Reno book.
Yeah, I read that.
Right. Yeah. But a Jimmy standalone, I have not done that yet. I just don't know what direction to take that in now that he's working for Tommy. See, people love to say, I would read that book. He's got a great job working for Tommy. He loves Oprah. Everything is fine. What's to write about?
And they've been so much, so I want to see them because even though they're together, it's not we haven't gotten their actual their day-to-day
that dynamic, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I do like her. She's definitely been through it just from being associated with them.
Right. I agree. Perhaps I could look into that. I haven't looked into that yet because I just couldn't get the angle for that book because he's doing so well as Tommy, working for Tommy. That I just
has come a long way for real.
The drama. Say that again.
No, I said has come a long way.
Oh yeah. Very immature. He's come a long way. Yes, he has.
Because he was all over the place.
Right.
Somebody is asking, was the young lady in Georgia? I guess it is Jimmy's mother.
Yes. Was that talking about the young lady I was talking about? I believe that was Jimmy's mother, yes. The one that Reno defended, yes. Right. And got pregnant.
Right.
Yeah, I do believe that was Jimmy's mother.
Yeah, it was. Okay. I remember that. I read it back then. Let's see. Where's Marco? I'm not even sure who that is. Where's Marco? She's asking.
Marco is Teddy's son. I believe that's his name. If I'm not mistaken, Marco is Teddy's son. If I'm not mistaken, he is, he's with the family. He's with the family. He's usually out of town when the books are written.
Oh, okay.
But he's with the family.
Geraldine is saying Mick is so frustrating. He has mellowed out some, but what is up with him?
That is true, Geraldine. Mick is one of my favorite characters because he is so complex. And he's not as easy as you think to write either, because he's over the top, and then he's not over the top. He's a family man.
Oh, for sure.
And he's involved in everybody's life.
Everybody.
And the only person though that doesn't fear him is Roz.
Nope.
And
but
Charles.
Everybody else.
Charles either. You're right.
Yes, because they know he'll go there. Right. And so he's frustrating. That is so true. But he's also and I got an email a couple of days ago, and the young lady asked me, why is it that Roz put up with all that nonsense with Mick? She believed Mick cheated on her. Now I never wrote that, because I don't write about cheaters. Forget my main characters. But she says Roz put up with so much, and I was kind of surprised to hear that. She puts up with a lot, but nothing compared to what a lot of those other ladies put up with, because Mick respects her, and she seems to be the only one that he really respects. In that puts her on an equal level almost with him. But he's frustrating. I'm trying to keep him true to himself.
And I appreciate that.
Terrible and wonderful. And
at the same time.
And that's not
we get a mixed bag. We get a mixed bag with all of them, really, because they all have two sides.
Right.
They do.
Right. But Mix is the most extreme, I think.
Yeah.
He really loves deeply, though.
He does.
Yeah.
He loves his brother. He loves his brother very much.
And it's sometimes the insecurities that he has, because when Roz is, with like another guy, and he's more attractive, and he's blah blah blah, and you would never think,
right?
Mick,
Right. That's a good point. A lot of these strong men do have deep insecurities, and Mick is no exception.
No,
there are deep insecurities there that I try to just mention but not delve into. But there are some insecurities there. I agree with all of these strong men. Actually, there are.
We have a couple of people asking what I already asked you. Will Donald get his book?
Yes. I told you that he has some fans. Yes, he will get a book.
And then somebody asked, you already answered this too, will Monk get another book?
Yes. Yes, I enjoy writing Monk.
I'm surprised, because there's a lot of them asking about dining in here.
I
told you.
That's awesome.
I told you. They like him.
Because we got a book for everybody else, didn't we?
Now we still waiting for Jimmy Matt. We still waiting for Donnie.
Well,
we're waiting for a few others of the younger people coming.
The younger ones, right?
Yeah, we're still waiting for a few of those. I do them when the time is right, But But see, then I have a lot of people clamoring for the old school guys,
yes,
the Renos.
That's one of mine. That's me. That's me. That's me.
And then I have a lot of people, they prefer the standalones, the rags, the romance books, And so it's like you have to balance it. You try to do, okay, if I'm going to do a Sinatra or Gabrini this month, then I'll do a standalone this month. Then you know what I mean? But I thank God Almighty, I have choices.
Yes, you have the readers that love your work.
Correct. Thank God that faithful readers. Thank God for that.
Yes. Now we're going to get into Trina and the powerful men who love her or loved her.
A lot of them.
Oh yes. Yes.
Okay, so when I was looking back through some of the chats that we did in the group a couple of years ago, and we were talking about it wasn't Alex, it was another somebody else that Trina, another powerful man. I can't remember who it was now.
Was that?
But
that wasn't
it was
Douglas,
Mick.
was it?
You mean Mick?
So Mick, I know Mick wanted wanted her in the beginning.
He wanted her.
The way I love that scene, by the way, where he was just looking at her and like, oh my gosh. And Reno noticed. That's what I like too, because Reno noticed it. And that's what I was going to ask you too when I'm thinking about it. They're dynamic because when you first introduced Mick, him and Reno were like on the same level. He was asking Reno for help because he needed some global reach.
Correct. That's true.
But now I noticed in the later books you have Reno calling him uncle. So what's the reason for that?
Well, Mick has grown by leaps and bounds since then. And Reno respects the game. And he's certain to make sure that, the Uncle Mick, that's just everybody's calling Mick that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think Reno fell into that because that's what he's called now. Okay. But I think Mick still respects Reno on that level, of all of them. If you think back of all of them, Reno, he respects perhaps the most on that level. He loves Tommy the most,
right?
He respects Reno the most, and he also respects Sal. Don't get me wrong, but he just respects Reno on that level.
Because I just recently reread the part where Mick is introduced. Love that scene too, is where he's standing up there with his white coat and his black turtleneck and black and Reno's Quinn, was she his assistant? I can't remember who she was, but she was checking them out, and I think that's when it's mentioned that he looks like Cary Grant. I love the dynamic between him and Reno at that point. So I was when I first read how he was calling him, I was like, when did that change? But I wanted to ask you about
just over the years, just everybody calls him Uncle Mick.
Yeah,
and that's how it developed. Even though it doesn't be the uncle. That is the Italian culture, the uncle.
Because it's a show of respect in that culture.
Correct.
Yeah.
A show of respect. That's right.
Yeah. So we'll go get back to Trina. Okay, so Trina is basically the gold standard. And so she's had so many men want her. And you would think that Reno would straighten up as far as his flirting. Because and his neglect of her sometimes. Because she came very close with Alex. She came very close.
Douglas Spencer is.
And Douglas
and Douglas.
She was about to get on that. She got on
that plane.
Yes. So she gets the powerful men see the asset in Trina, and I love that. And I loved how Alex actually told Carrie, that was she was
out of respect. He let her know before they went and met with Reno and Trina. That's correct. Yeah,
I love that scene
too. Yeah,
and I love how Trina, took her under her wing and they bonded. And,
that's right.
So great, so great. What did you think, Tina, about Trina and her many men that loved her from afar and tried to take her from Reno?
They didn't love from afar.
You're right, because they were up front with it. They were trying to.
They were there up front, yeah.
And they told Reno knew he was slipping, and he like you said, you would think. Get a clue, dude. But he was still, and then he had his moments. He came in and out of it when the realizations came to life, especially with that the scene with the plane. It was like, Lord, my heart was in my feet, and I was like, no, this can't be. And the kids were like, oh no, and it was like, what is happening?
I love that too.
That was a tough moment for Reno. Yeah, for sure.
but it was necessary. I loved
Right.
it.
It was
I loved
absolutely
it for that
necessary.
reason.
Mhm.
Yes.
But that was the thing, like you were saying, like why do we have to keep going with the back and keep going back to that every single time? You know, every time she comes to the casino and he's like checking out this blonde and that blonde, you know, and he's getting, you know, like flirting, like
With
opening.
Gemma at first. That was kind of ticking me off when he kept flirting with Gemma.
Yes.
But I was
Yeah.
glad when you made it where Sal checked him on it. Like, that's
Yeah.
my wife.
Yeah, I agree. With Reno, I just keep trying to let him be true to himself, and that's Reno. Every man have a weakness, and that's his. You know, has one at least one weakness. That's his weakness.
Right.
That flirting that doesn't go. Hopefully, it doesn't go beyond just flirting.
It doesn't. And it's funny because it seems like they're used to it. Because I think it was the scene they were at the cookout. And he was like checking somebody out, and they started arguing again, and everybody was like, "Here they go."
Right. I remember that.
Right.
Yes. I remember that. Yes.
That's true. I remember that scene. Yeah.
But I love that dynamic that you make these powerful men. They realize, you know, who Trina is and what she can bring to the table,
right?
And it puts Reno on notice, even though he still slips right back into his ways.
Yeah.
And we've seen the women who want him, but he never goes to that point, even though he's come close where we were questioning.
Okay, he doesn't go over the top, right?
No, because even Val wanted
him.
Oh yeah,
and did a striptease.
I remember. I forgot about that. Oh, right, she sure did.
She was crazy.
I remember.
I forgot about that.
Yes,
you're right. That happened. That sure did.
Yeah, she had to go.
And I think did Trina do something? I think she beat her up or something. I can't remember.
Listen, I don't remember what Trina. I'm certain did something. I don't remember the details.
But Reno actually put her in her place. I love that. He was like, "Are you crazy? Put some clothes on."
He was attracted. He was
and that's Reno's character that he doesn't go that far.
But he did.
He do his little flirting, but he doesn't go that. He likes to look, but that's all he does.
That's
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love so many good standout moments. One that still makes me emotional. I did a reread on that too. When Reno had to make that tough decision. I think it was in what book was that? Let's see. It was The Heart of Reno by Boss 6, where he had to make the unthinkable decision to choose between his family members, which one was going to be.
Yes. That was a tough one to write.
I was going to ask you, how was that to write? Because, oh my goodness, for me as the reader, I felt like my heart was going to just...
I felt that way writing it, because it was, I think at the time it was Trina, Jimmy, and the baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was the decision that had to be made. I think Donnie was the baby at the time. And if I'm not mistaken, and that was the decision that had to be made between the three of them. Who had to go? Reno was begging them to take him.
Even Sal had said, "Take me," you know.
Right.
Yes,
he was there too. He was there.
Yes. Oh yeah, sure was. And but they said no. It has to be his wife or one of his children.
Yeah, he said, or all of them gonna go. So, but when he said Jimmy, I thought I was going, okay.
Yeah.
And then
I said, what?
And then it actually happened.
And then when the gun actually went off, oh
no. That was tough. That was tough. But it just showed the character of Reno. And Sal had that same thing happen to him at one point.
He did.
His son, and he was trying to take me, but
Lord lucky, Lord help.
No, they dealing in a world where it's some tough people out.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my goodness, you have a gift as far, because I read a lot of mafia books and thrillers and stuff like that, and not all of them hit the mark as far as the intensity of a scene like that. That went above and beyond the intensity.
I remember that Mob Boss 6, the heart of was it the heart of the matter,
the heart of Reno.
The Heart of Reno. Okay.
Yes, yes. I'm
Mm.
like, oh my goodness.
Mhm.
That still stands out. I read that years ago, and it still stands out as
Yeah.
far as one of the most intense moments in the Reno series for
World.
me.
And the other
Yes,
one was when he lost his child and he
yes,
left Trina for that year. Remember,
yes,
he just couldn't,
Yes.
he left her for an
yes,
entire year. Yeah. Now that was a tough one too.
Oh
yes. I'm like,
man.
oh my
Mhm.
goodness. But you definitely brought it with both of those. And
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
was
Thank
what was the
God. Thank God.
yes, you did it.
Mhm.
What was a standout moment for you, Tina, in the Gabrini's world?
Oh, I went to I don't know how much spoilers were given away
Well,
when
I did mention it at the top, so you can go ahead.
okay.
Yeah.
When Trina was drugged.
Mm.
Oh yes,
Remember
Was
yes.
that was that all the women that were that were in the
they
club or
went
that was
somewhere. They were
yeah.
out of town, I think.
Hmm.
Oh, that's a different one. Okay, yeah.
And she went to meet with someone. I think she slipped security or something,
Oh yes, yeah.
and she
Hmm.
was drugged
Hmm.
and assaulted,
Hmm.
and then they gave her drugs so she wouldn't even know that it
Hmm.
happened. And I
Right.
think he videotaped like the whole thing.
Mm.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if you remember that, but
I
that was
remember it, but I can't remember what book or do you remember what
I
book?
can't remember the book, and I was trying to find it, but I couldn't
Oh,
find
okay. I
Anybody in the
remember a
audience know what
scene
book
like
anybody
that
that.
know
is?
what book
But
that
the
is.
details are blurry, but I remember us definitely that something like that happened to
And
Trina.
he did everything to her. Like it
Yeah.
was insane. And he was pictures and just
Mm.
and
See,
I
I
think
do remember. I'm gonna have
Reno
to go back
thought
and
she cheated, and
Yeah.
she was like, "What are you talking about?" Like
right.
Right.
all she remembered was just sitting on the couch talking
Mm-hmm.
to the guy, and then when he finished with her, he put
Mm-hmm.
her
Mm-hmm.
back on the couch, and she
Mm-hmm.
never knew none of
Oh
that
wow.
happened. So that was like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
No, I was
go
going there
find
back
that
then.
book because
Yeah.
yeah, because I remember like bits and pieces of it, but
Yeah,
I'm
me
not.
too. It's blurry though. I
Right.
can't remember the book or anything, but yeah, I remember something like that did happen to Trina.
But I
Yeah,
had a
she
bunch of other ones that were with the other
okay.
series
We'll
too.
we'll get into
But we
those.
can
But yeah, Trina has definitely been through it since she's been with Reno.
Rena,
Um, man, she has been through the Reno.
from her wedding
Gone
day.
down in a plane.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I'm like, what in the world? But
Oh man.
that was another one. I had my heart like, but racing. But
Oh
yeah,
man.
she has been through it, and they have stuck together, and
Hmm.
I love them as a couple, and
Hmm.
I love reading about them. So I hope you continue
Right.
to write
Hmm.
them.
But I did
Um,
like one of the funnier moments was that one of the funnier moments was when the men cooked
oh,
the
Girls' night. What was it
yes,
called? Girls
but
on
that
the Run.
wasn't
yeah, yeah.
Now that one I remember. That Carmine was very upset what they did
Yes,
to his mother's kitchen. Yeah.
right. Like, what is going on?
was a
Yeah, that was a
disaster.
Valentine's book, Girls on the Run.
I
Yeah.
think that was a
Mhm,
Valentine's book. Yeah,
mhm.
Yeah.
that was fun. That was one of the funny ones for
Hmm.
me.
And it's good that you brought in some, some humor and lighter
Yeah.
moments. But
Right.
some
Yeah.
of my favorite ones are the ones when they're all together and they're just kicking back, relaxing, and like you had
Mhm.
mentioned, Tina, when they were in the backyard and they were having to cook out. I love those moments
Oh,
too.
those moments. Okay.
Those are
Yeah,
good ones.
because we
Those are
get a
good
lot
ones.
of the dangers. I love when they're able to just sit back and
Relax.
chill for a
Hmm.
minute. Yeah,
Hmm.
and I love the dynamic between all of them. But
Okay.
so we're going to go from Reno and Trina to Sal and Gemma,
Okay.
and Sal has definitely come a long way because I still cannot believe he actually said what he said to Gemma in the beginning. He said something
Oh,
crazy to her about her being. He always thought black people were, or he was. I thought you
Yeah.
were ugly in the beginning. That's how he said.
Yeah.
It was just.
And he kept saying it. It was like,
yeah.
stop.
Well, in sales defense, he said, she's either the ugliest woman he'd
Or the
ever
pre-
seen or the
Right.
prettiest.
Oh
He
my
couldn't
god! But
decide.
that still was
It
like, oh my goodness! I said I can't believe he said that.
Remember, Sal was a racist cop. And there was no getting around that. He had very ridiculous ideas about everybody except Italians, you know. And so he was a racist cop. And when he met Gemma, he still had vestiges of all of that until he met her. And then once he met her and realized, no, she's not the ugliest he's ever seen. She's the most beautiful he'd ever seen, because inside and outside, he just fell for her heart. But Sal really changed. But I didn't want it to be a fake change. I wanted it to be, you don't go from the kind of cop he was, corrupt as corrupt could get, a bully, and also racist on top of all of that. And you don't go from that and then just go, oh, I'm in love with a black woman. It took him, you know, some changes, and boy, did he make those changes.
But it was, you did, and you're right. You kept him, it was a gradual thing. Because even I remember I read where him and Gemma were cooking in the beginning, and he admitted to her, they had a good, I love the conversation between them, because he admitted that he was not a nice guy. He said, I wasn't nice. He said, and I couldn't understand why Tommy kept dating all these black women.
All these good Italian ladies, that was Sam. That was Sam.
Yes, but that was a great scene, because he was being honest with her. He wasn't trying to pretend like he was anything that he, you know, that he wasn't. And I love that scene. And he definitely has come a long way. But even when before Gemma, it's like he made an exception for Trina because he liked Trina. Yes.
Now, not at the very beginning, he wasn't that crazy about Trina, but he came to really love and respect Trina because Trina was one of them. You know, she became one of them. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so it was a lot of like little moments like that with him when we see the progression over the course of him and Gemma's books.
Right. And keep in mind, Tommy only dated black women, but a lot of the women he were dating were some rough, you know, some tough cookies who really weren't great to Tommy. So he had negative experiences with a lot of black women that he translated into, you know, this is what I was thinking all along. So Sal had a long hurdle to jump, but he eventually jumped it. And now he hires more blacks than a lot of other people were hiring at his, you know, corporation. So he really changed.
And I love that storyline because even back then I had a love-hate relationship with him, or love-dislike. I never really hated him because he was so you could still see like the humanity behind him. And and then what I like too is I wanted to ask you this a lot too. What is it with the parents? Because Reno, especially Tommy and Sal's, they had some of the worst parents.
All of them.
All of them. Charles, Mick, they had the worst parents that you could think of. And
that's when I knew that was getting kind of out of hand because they all were bad. That's when I decided to invent Big Daddy Sinatra. That's when I began the Big Daddy Sinatra series, because I felt we needed a moral father figure here. Because all of their parents were just awful people. And so Big Daddy became that moral voice. Like his very first book was There Was a Ruthless Man, Big Daddy Sinatra. And that book was trying to define that he did not tolerate wrong behavior, even from his own children. Remember what he did to Donald? When Donald beat up his wife or something, his brand new bride or whatever, and he didn't tolerate it. So he would turn his own son in. And so so I wanted to create that moral authority. And Charles Big Daddy Sinatra is the moral authority of the whole group.
And even when we put it in there,
in his morality. And I said, oh my goodness, everybody was messed up. Every parent, you know. They
Oh,
all were
man.
mob bosses. They all were crooked.
They were all just crazy and just
Terrible.
so terrible. And
Mhm.
but you're right, Charles, because I think we even said in the group several times that Charles would get Father of the Year because he is
For
a
sure.
great father. He's a great
Sure.
husband.
Really is. He tolerates. Yes, he tolerates. No,
but he is no joke. He will knock you down in a minute if
right.
you get
Tough.
stuff wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, he's very tough.
He's tough.
And I still love his character. Still love his.
I do too.
character.
I
And-
really enjoy his too. He was a
And
good
I love
one
the
to watch.
dynamic between him and Mick and how Mick still respects him as his big brother.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
He's
right.
just-
'Cause
he's
he pretty
just-
much raised them because remember, their parents were the worst of the worst.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
And
Yeah,
so
they
much
had
so,
awful.
so much
awful.
so that their big sister, I mean that their little, what was she?
Amelia.
Amelia, their little sister.
Little
she
sister.
felt not her, I'm talking about Spread, because Spread
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Right.
she was so abused by the
Yeah.
crazy parents, and then she had a crazy husband with the
Oh,
Gabrini.
yeah. She went through it.
I felt so bad for her, but I wanted her to
Right.
get herself together, but she never,
She
Never did. Mm-mm.
And
She was too damaged.
Whoa,
at
wait,
that
yeah.
point.
She was
Yeah,
way
that I
past
just
the
couldn't
point.
see the point of trying to rehabilitate all of that because it was a lot that you can't focus. You don't write a book about a broken person who doesn't get mended. But if the breaking, because remember it was too many books,
It was,
all of this breakage,
Yeah.
and so it was,
Yeah, I
Sale
felt
tried to reach Sale of all of them.
Yes,
Was hanging in there with her.
yes.
But she was a lot.
And that was so sad is I read in one of when I was going back through skimming that Sal was telling Gemma about when they were talking about parents, and he was telling her about how he said my mother just up and left me and Tommy left us in, and she said you sound like you were left in prison. He was like probably worse than prison. Yeah. And then he said, and then I ran away and I ran to my mother and she beat me with a stick and told me never to come back.
Yeah,
my heart was breaking.
Yeah.
Oh man,
it was
I'm
terrible.
Yeah,
but at the end, he still tried to reconcile with her.
Yes.
Tommy pretty much had given up on her,
Yeah,
but he still tried to reconcile with her. But she was
so gone because the only person that she had any contact with was Charles, and that's because Charles was taking care of her basically.
Right. That's right.
But it's like I was just like, oh my goodness, they are just all just damaged from these old crazy parents that they had.
It was something.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you too. Was it intentional for you to make Reno's family die off, except for Tommy and Sal, but his mother, his father, his two sisters?
It wasn't intentional, but that's where the stories led. Like you start writing, and then it's like it'll be disingenuous if you didn't carry it on through. And all of these gun battles and nobody dies.
Right.
So
right.
so they were picked off. Because the story wasn't going to be about. It would have been too much
to have him still have.
I wanted the focus to be on, not he training all these side
siblings and stuff.
And then their children came into the picture, and that was enough. It was like, this is the focus.
And then you still had Trina's parents too.
Yes, Trina's parents,
because they did play a big part in the beginning when they were
right.
You're right.
They're still around,
right. Because I was like, I felt so bad for Reno. I'm like, his whole family is gone. But I'm like, every last one. But even though his father was no saint, but and even it turned out that his sisters were not very kind. The other one ended up, I don't know what happened with her. Where she was it Marbeth, the one that was just crazy. But
one that was married to Dirty, I think.
Yeah, she was married. Yeah, Dirty. Lord,
I'm like, oh my
blast from his past.
And he still was trying to be a brother for her.
My writing back then was a lot more animated, but I ringed it in a little as time went on because, if you have an explosion every day, that explosion gets old. So you got to kind of start, nuancing it a little bit more. So that's when I began that nuancing it a little bit more. The
Oh,
explosions are
okay.
still there, but you
Right.
just can't have them every page,
Right.
Yeah,
So that's kind of
because I
when
would say that
that
the
started
beginning,
happening.
yeah, the earlier books are more. Well, you have some intensity in the other books too, but in the beginning, especially, it was very very intense. But very good. I love them, and
Thank you. Thank you.
but yeah, but even Reno was trying to still be, a brother to his since he could not fathom that she would do any harm, want to do him any harm.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but she another one that was broken, and it all stemmed from their parenting.
Right.
And it
Right.
was
They
just
had a rough upbringing. Yeah. But
I think
Reno made it.
Tommy's and Sal's was the worst though.
Oh, oh,
Because
Tommy went through the worst of the
Tommy's was the
worst.
worst.
yeah, when
For
he
Now
was, it
sure.
that
was
was a
like,
hard storyline to write. Tommy really went through the worst, but
yes,
Sale took a lot of Tommy's baggage too.
yeah,
Sale carried a lot of it.
He did.
So both of them had a terrible because they had of all of the parents, their father was the worst one,
yes,
hands down.
trying to pretend like he was this upstanding cop,
Yeah,
but he really
commissioner,
was,
police
yeah,
commissioner. Yeah, he wasn't even a mob boss.
Yeah.
He wasn't supposedly a mob
right,
boss,
right.
but he
Right.
was the worst of
He
the
was the
worst.
worst.
He was in the police force.
Yes. So from the
Mhm.
outside looking in, people thought they had this family. He was this
Mm-hmm.
persona,
He
but
was the worst of
he
the
was
worst.
the
Yeah.
monster. But
Hmm.
and had the nerve to try to say that his brother was the monster because he was a mob boss. But
Right.
Right. No,
No.
it was him. Right.
No.
He was the worst one. Mhm.
but one of the standout moments for me with Sal was we were talking about Sal and Tommy and how close they are. When
Mhm.
they actually had that fist fight, it was so heartbreaking because even
Oh,
afterwards, Sal was broken from it because he loves Tommy, but
right.
he didn't like what Tommy was saying about he thought he was saying he wasn't good enough for Gemma. I guess he was
Right.
Hmm.
that was a very emotional scene for me reading it.
Yeah, it was good. I don't remember the details of that scene, but I remember how sensitive Sal
Mm-hmm.
is. He
Mm-hmm.
perhaps he's all heart, as Mick would say, but he's the one who had that sensitive side that ironically he wasn't sensitive as a cop, but he had heart. He
Yeah.
always looked out for people. And so he that was developed more when he and Gemma came together.
Yes.
I felt I had to do that to kind of buffer, to ease up on some of his past,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of readers may not buy it. You know what I mean? If he was so far out there, and
Right.
now he's a champion,
Right. Right.
of
Right.
African American rights,
Right. Right.
Right.
Right.
you
Right.
know,
Right. Right.
but he really did a full change.
And I think that's what came across in that scene.
Hmm.
It hurt his feelings so much that Tommy was looking at how he had been,
Correct.
and right, and so
Not how he is now and how
right,
he loved Gemma.
right,
Tommy perhaps didn't buy it because
right,
Tommy knew him best. And
Right.
right.
so remember when Tommy was a police captain, he
Mm-hmm.
had to take the brunt of a lot of Sal's
He
nonsense.
Right,
did.
And
right,
he had to bail Sale out a lot of times because he was Sale's boss. And
right.
because Tommy had to bail Sale out a lot, he saw what Sale was capable of. Him and that group he ran. Remember, Sale was in
Right,
Vice.
Yeah.
He and that Vice squad that Sale was
right.
running.
Crooked.
They were just a
Yeah.
bunch of thugs on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And Tommy had to clean up a lot of that. So he had a longer way to go than just a regular person to get to realize Sale had changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but yeah, you did a great job with that scene, in my opinion, too, because
Okay.
I was so emotional. I was feeling like I was a part of the crowd. I was boohooing, like, oh my gosh, no, they're not falling out, not too.
No.
But yeah, but the
Yeah.
great scene, and then like I said, I love afterwards how you show how it affected both of them because they had
Yeah.
never been
Right.
at odds like that before.
Mhm.
So yeah, I love that. Tina, what was another one for you stand out for as far as Sal or Tommy?
So, probably when Gemma was found guilty.
Mm,
That courtroom
In
scene.
court. I mean, that was talk about explosions.
right.
Yeah, that was a good one. I remember that one.
That
Yeah.
was, and you
Mhm.
saw like, you know, his heart was like broken, and he knew, like he looked at Reno and he was like, take care of Lucky, and he's like,
Right.
what? You know, and they're singing out bricks and
Yeah.
guns, and they are on the run, and
He was
that
not
was
letting her go. I know
no,
that's right. You not
No,
no,
have.
sir.
He
he
said,
was
"You are
gonna
not
be
having
sure
my
to
wife."
No, sir.
Yeah, man. That
No,
was a tough one because he made a decision that it was going to be all or nothing. They were going to do this
Yep.
and get Gemma out of there because they knew once she go into prison, she was going to die there
She was gonna die.
because she had that Gabrini name, and he refused to allow that to happen.
Yes, that was good too. Yeah, I remember that. That was
Yeah.
a good one. Some for the audience. Let me see. Let me go back through some of these. A Facebook user saying Gina was assaulted like that too. I think she's talking about when we were talking about Trina.
I think she was right. Yeah, from the president's girlfriend. I think something like that did happen to Gina. I, for the life of me, can't remember the details, but I do believe something like that did happen to Gina.
She went, Gina definitely went through it too. Yeah, she definitely went through it too.
Yeah, she did.
And then Valerie is saying he had Trina in bed and she was drugged.
Okay.
I guess it was she talking about, unless she talking about Gina.
Trina,
Gina. And another Facebook user is saying Sal's relationship with Carmine, Reno's son, is a great to read about. I thought his relationship with Jimmy actually too, because he
was good at the it was when before he started working with Tommy and was gone when he was working with Reno.
Right, Sal was
Jimmy
always
relied on Sal as a conduit for his father because his father was so hard on him.
Right.
Yeah.
And Sal was kind of like his sounding board. That is so true. Yeah, that's true.
I love their relationship.
But they're really but Sal's relationship with Carmine is more comical.
Right.
You know,
It is.
if you read toward the ending of Sophia's new book, Sophia Gabrini, Please Don't Go, it's a little comical there too.
Oh, okay.
With Sal and Carmine. Yeah.
It is. I love that one.
Yeah.
And then Vivian is saying she love him. Yeah, I like Amelia too because she is no joke. She is. She's the female version of her two brothers.
That's right. Yes, and she's coming up. She and Ham are coming up. That's
really
sure.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, not next, but I mean in the
yeah,
and not next.
I hope they get together. You know where they not so. we need Hammer to step it up. You know,
you like the happy endings, huh?
Yes.
Well, slightly happy with this group.
Yes, right. Happily for right now, at least. Yeah,
right.
For
now. Purple Jam Girl is saying, Mallory Monroe, you make me keep track of very preserved slight, just in case it comes back to haunt them. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you mean. I might have read that wrong, but
no, right.
Geraldine said, "What are you doing with Dami? Is he good or is he bad?"
Do we know?
Well, Geraldine, he's back with his father. He's back with Reno.
Okay.
Because remember, Mick had it, and so he's back with Reno. When Reno made the decision, when Dami did whatever Dami does, Reno made the decision. He's coming back home, and now he's the supervisor of the pit bosses in the casino, and which is sort of like a big step down for him. But it's keeping him reined in. Whether he's good or bad, that hasn't been explored yet. But time will tell. It's going to be more of Dami through Reno's books, you know.
Oh, good. Okay.
But time will tell. But I don't see Dami on his own, but I see Reno's books giving more emphasis on Dami too.
Because he's always been very, even as a kid, he's always been very intelligent and very strategic. So I would love to see that some more of that come as he grows, as an
Right.
adult, that like we saw
Because
when
he
was
was
a kid.
because a lot of readers viewed him as a disappointment, Dami,
Mm.
because they expected Dami to just, catch fire,
Yeah.
but
Right,
he didn't catch fire.
right.
Because he started working for Mitt, which was probably a big mistake. He should have stayed with Sal. But he
True.
knew Robbie Yale, Sal's underboss, is going nowhere.
Mm.
He will always be Sal's underboss.
Right.
And therefore, he felt he had stood a better chance with Mick, which makes no sense to me because Teddy was there.
Right, right.
Teddy was far more powerful than Robbie
Yeah.
Yale.
Way more.
So, but he felt he could get further ahead by being with the best of the best, Mick's outfit. But it didn't work out.
No.
He got jealous of Nikki, Teddy's wife,
Oh.
because she became the number 2 behind Ted when Ted took over. And he was expecting to be
number 2.
Ted's underboss, and Mick didn't do it that way. It didn't work that way. And so Donnie just got caught up in, it should have been me. And when he got caught up in that, it never worked out for him. And so I couldn't reconcile him, and I still haven't yet. So Geraldine, you asked a good question. I haven't reconciled him yet. Is he good? Is he bad? Time will probably
I hope he's
tell.
good, but he can be bad. I'm hoping that being back with Reno knocks him, because Reno, he will knock him in the head if he don't.
Oh my goodness, yeah. None of them play. They do not play. Yes.
Yes, because Reno and I forgot to mention to you, because I had just did a reread of Romance and the Mob Boss. I love the dynamic of Reno as far as the different sides. He can be very malicious. He can be very, but he also has that vulnerability that a lot of them don't always show. But he was always free to do that with Trina. That was his safe space. Right. So in that book especially, I think that's what got Trina too, when he came back and he just laid on her and he just started crying because he was so overwhelmed with everything that was happening.
His father,
but his father get killed and all of that. And that was a great scene. But even throughout the series, you've kept it where Trina is still his safe space where he can be vulnerable when he can't. Tommy too, he can be vulnerable with Tommy too, but in a different way.
Right.
So that made me think about that. Facebook user saying he also took on those kids in Italy. Sal's dad went to prison for it. I'm not sure. I'm not. Who are you talking about? I'm not sure.
Sal's dad.
But who is he saying took the kids?
Of something he didn't do.
Okay.
The details are murky to me, but he was accused of something he didn't do, and he did go to prison for it. Remember Nico, when Sal discovered he had a different father than Tommy. Yeah,
right.
that's what you may be talking about.
That was a good book, by the way. Tommy and Sal's book. I love that. Another Facebook user saying, "Will Mick stop beating on Teddy?"
I doubt it. I doubt it. Because Teddy stands up to Mick.
Right.
And therefore the tension is going to always be high. But he respects Teddy. That's the only way Teddy would have ever taken over his syndicate.
That's right.
Although Mick is still fully in charge, but Teddy did take over. He respects Teddy. So I doubt if they're knockout drag out anytime soon.
Especially when it comes to Nikki.
Yes, Nikki.
That's always that thing with Mick and Nikki.
Yes, that's so true.
Valerie is asking, will you have a book about Mick and Alex when Alex was running the mob for his dad? Yeah, Alex definitely can bring it. That's for sure. He's a mob boss of his own.
I think Valerie had emailed me about this question. I may touch on that. I don't know if it'll be a specific book. I don't, that's not on my schedule right now, but it could be in the future. I don't know right now, but I plan to touch on that, I'm sure, at some point. Because they have a history,
They do, and that was good to see in one of the books. I can't remember what book it was, when we got that connection, that history that they have. When Mick needed Alex when he needed to disappear. Right. He went to Alex.
Okay.
Nicole said she was crying her eyes out for Tommy. Yes, Tommy had such a horrible
childhood.
yes, man.
Yeah, that was really tough because remember Tommy's big curse is his beauty.
Right.
And everybody manipulated his beauty.
Right.
That's why he hates,
When people
absolutely
talk
hates. If you
about it.
read the books, he hates, right, when people comment on his beauty, because that was his downfall, not of his making, but of the making of all those people around him, including his father, who exploited him.
Oh
And
my
so,
gosh.
and like a lot of fans got very upset with me that he married such a plain Jane kind of person like Grace. Remember? Oh,
yes. And then it kept being brought up over and over
every
again.
time.
Like,
yes,
like you, especially from his exes, like you with her. What's wrong?
Yeah,
with
gave
you,
up me for her. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. He knew what he was doing.
And they were even coming
looking
to
at
her.
the heart of the woman.
Right.
And he was tired of the supermodels and all those kind of women that came and went in his life. Remember Skank? What, not Skank.
Oh, Tank.
What was her name? Shank. Yeah, Shank.
Oh, yes.
I didn't mean Skank. Shank.
Yeah,
she was crazy.
And all of those kind of women that came and went in his life, he was tired of it. And but Grace was a calming factor for him. Yes. And people couldn't believe that she could win the prize, as they call it. But she won it, and she kept it. After they had their blip, that one book.
And you know what? I love that though, that you did that with them, that you actually took it where Grace actually left.
What happens?
And married somebody else. Yeah, and she married somebody else, but they ended up were able to come back together.
Right.
Like you said, it happens. It happens. Because Sinbad and his wife, they had divorced and they ended up coming back together.
Who was it now?
The comedian Sinbad.
Sure did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it happens, and we may need Trina to do something similar for Reno to really step up.
But remember,
I think we have a fit.
Oh no! Oh,
you know,
remember, Reno and Trina separated for an entire year, though.
Yeah, they did separate. Yeah. And then when she left and he got mad at Sal, was it Sal or Tommy? He got mad at Sal because Sal wouldn't say where she was.
Yeah, he was.
She ended up, she was with Tommy the whole time.
Right. It's been a lot. It's gone through a lot.
Yes. Valerie is saying, is Val Dad still around?
Gosh, I gotta think back. Did anything happen? It looked like something happened to him. I don't know if it took him out. It may have.
That's right. Because he was trying to defend.
He was trying
Valerie,
to help her, right?
Yeah, and because she did still love her father, even though she had lost her mind.
Right.
But I think he was trying to defend. She did lose her, but I was actually sad about that though, because in the beginning she was so she was a good girl, but everything that she went through, the traumatic stuff that she went through with them, I think broke her spirit.
Right, it did. Everybody can't be strong and great, and it's gonna happen. Some characters have to, you have to. So and she was unfortunately one of the ones who had to.
I was so sad, but I was upset too. You don't sacrifice your daughter. You know better than that, Val. Like, what is going on with you? Yeah. But that was a good book too. Man, that was good. When Jimmy's daughter was
that
was very, very
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Oh yeah, we have to talk about that, but I was going to talk about that when we get to mix. I'm talking to one of the. Okay, they said Tommy's father killed all those kids. I'm not sure.
They're talking about when Nico was accused of doing it, killing. It was like some kind of shooting or something. Some kids were killed or something like that, and Nico was accused of it, but it actually was. I don't know about Tommy's father. It's confusing to me, but I know what she's talking about. It is in the book. I thought it was Nico's father, but maybe it was Tommy's father. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy's father was a monster, so I would not put it past him.
Right. Nicole said, I feel a rivalry between Carmine and Dami. Unfortunately, little dude is more like Mick than Reno. Think Mick is low key leery of Carmine. I, is that true, Mallory? Or is she? I hope it's not any kind of right because I love strong
I
sibling bonds, so I hope it's not any
Right.
kind
I
of.
don't see a rivalry between the two at all. I'm trying to evolve Donnie and not in the
Right,
wrong way.
Good.
So
right,
I don't think
Yeah.
that it's going to be where Donnie and Carmine, because Carmine, Reno reminds us,
right,
he's going to be a tough cookie
He
in a
is.
different way than Donnie was because,
right,
Carmine is a certified genius.
Mm-hmm.
And
right,
so he has skills that the rest of them don't have.
right, right.
And he pay attention to everything, every little thing. You making a
Mm-hmm.
sandwich without asking permission. You
Everything.
entering our home without knocking, and every little
Yes,
thing gets on, breaks him.
Everything.
You're messing up my mother's kitchen. So
right.
Mm-hmm.
he pays attention to everything. So he's going to be an interesting character to write if it gets to that,
And that
for
makes
Yeah.
him
sure.
more dangerous because he has that
Right.
intellect and he can come up
Mm-hmm.
with different
To go
ways
along with
to.
his toughness. Right. That's
Right.
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 That's right.
Yeah.
I love that. Geraldine is asking something that we've all thought that Mick kind of, in a way, like Reno a little bit with Gemma. She's
Mhm.
asking, is Mick attracted to Nikki for real sexually? I hope not.
No, not talking about. Oh, Nick. I
Mick
thought
and
you were talking
Nikki.
about Trina. No,
Mhm.
Nikki.
Mm,
The attraction is based on her skills,
mm,
but I think that attraction also can be in a different way because of that he's so attracted to her skills. And so I'm not closing that door. I'm not opening that door, but I'm not closing it. I don't know. And we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
I leave it to your imagination, Carolyn.
Yeah, as long as he never acts on it, that
Don't
would be
do
terrible.
nothing.
Okay.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
because Rod's gonna tell him.
And
Right.
his son, you don't do that to your son, so I doubt he would
Oh
ever take it there. But
Yeah, Nicole Skank.
so
That's right. Oh,
I
she
mean,
was
and
a
they're giving
yeah.
you,
skank.
She wasn't
No,
yeah,
it
saying.
they're
was
telling you,
Skank, Nicole.
Shank was a
Shanks,
skank.
yeah,
Yeah.
was a skank.
Somebody's
Yeah.
asking about Gemma's daughter. Is she going to get a
Oh,
book?
Talking about Marie.
Marie. Yeah.
Perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
And they're answering the question that they had asked. They're clarifying that
Tommy's
yes, it was Tommy's father that killed the kids at the school.
Okay. Because there was a school shooting, but they blamed
Mm-hmm.
Nico, who
Mm-hmm.
eventually we found out was Sale's real father,
father.
Right.
and they blamed him for it, and he did go to prison. I need to develop Nico a little more. He's been kind of like in the background
Right.
ever since then, but he's still a part of Sale's life.
Oh, good, good. I
Mhm.
like
Oh yeah.
him. Yeah, and they sure were intermingling. Because then we find out that
Reno.
Reno's sisters are also Sal and
Yeah,
Tommy's sisters.
it got kind of complicated there. It got so complicated. I said, okay, let me move on. It was getting so complicated. I agree.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes,
It was getting a little messy. So I said, okay,
yes.
let's move
But that
on.
happens in families too.
It does.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, this is my cousin and
My
my
cousin and
Yeah.
my
family.
uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said,
Yeah.
okay, we need to do something different. Okay, Nicole said, what's going on with Destiny and her baby daddy? Destiny did have the baby, but her baby daddy, they are having some issues. It's been mentioned, but it hasn't been explored, Nicole. We haven't explored. I haven't explored that at all yet, because I haven't had to go to a book that where she would be dealing with that, like with Sophia and her boyfriend Vaughn at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and what happened. They were beginning to have some issues. They were too young.
Yeah.
Both Destiny and Sophia were so young to
Mm-hmm.
follow that deeply that
Yeah.
it was bound. I viewed it as it wasn't going to be this 50-year marriage. You know, I viewed it when I wrote it that it was going to be, you know,
Not
perhaps
long
temporary, perhaps
lasting.
not, but we'll see.
Right. Okay, so now we're going to move on to Mick and Roz in their world.
Okay.
Now, I love their relationship as well. Although Mick, I'm like, I can't remember who said it. Mick is something else. I think it was
Frustrated.
Gina.
Geraldine
Yes.
said that. Yeah.
Because like especially in the beginning when he would go off and do his thing, but he wouldn't call. I mean, he would just go days without calling her, without touching base, without saying anything, and then would get upset if she said anything about it.
Or she did something quite similar, and he was like, "Where you been?" She's like,
right. Yeah, he is definitely a trip, but he also, like you said, can be very. He's a family man because he supports her in what she wants to do, even though she keeps with her profession. He makes sure that he bankrolls it.
Right. Sure. Because remember at the beginning, Roz was a struggling actress.
Yes.
And she really, you know, was having a lot of issues going on. And it was Mick who believed in her, not those Broadway producers. You know, they were telling her no more than yes. But Mick believed in her. And like you said, he bankrolled her comeback. He really bankrolled that. Though she never was a great star, but she did have a little comeback, and he bankrolled that. And so they have had it's been a good relationship on both sides, and a very contentious relationship on both sides. And I cannot see it not being contentious because
of their personalities.
Two strong personalities. Same with Reno and Trina. Same with Sal and Gemma, but Sal and Gemma to a less extent because Gemma knows how to handle Sal.
Right.
And she doesn't go there, but Trina will go there and Roz will go there. And
because she even tells Trina sometimes, you know, like I'm not about to. I know Sal, I'm not about to, you know, go like you will, go off and all of that. Because I remember, I think Trina was saying something about Sal not calling Gemma one time,
right?
But Gemma was like, I know Sal, I know, you know,
right.
Gemma knows how to handle it. She's a little bit more even keel than Trina and Roz.
For sure.
And Grace, to me, Grace is powerful in her quietness, in the way she caters to her husband and makes no bones about it. You know, her husband and her children, that's her life. Although she's a professional woman, but that's her life. And her husband, Tommy, his wife and children, that's his life, although he's a you know, huge success business mogul. So I try to keep both of them the family man, the family woman.
Yes. And you do a great job with that too, because that's one of my favorite things. And Katina, we always talking about how we love strong couples, strong friends and family. So you do a great job with the brotherhood between the men and the sisterhood between the women throughout the series. I love that. And like with Mick, another facet of him being frustrating is, especially when he couldn't let go, well, he is still continuing to take care of his children's mothers.
Right.
Yeah.
And Bella came.
Yes.
Bella came.
Look at Katina.
Yes.
Oh my Jesus. Okay, when is she going off a cliff?
But you know, in the beginning, though, Bella was the only one that acted like she had some sense. If you remember when the women used to come together, she never played those games. She was always straight up with Mick.
Because Joey's
keep in
mom,
mind, she
and
didn't because she wanted to stay in good with Mick.
Right.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, and Roz saw through that.
Okay.
Roz always saw through Bella King. Bella King always were playing chess. Okay. You know, and the other baby mamas were playing checkers.
Right.
You know, and well, I don't put Roz in that category. I'm talking about his first group of children, you know. So those baby mamas were playing checkers, but Bella King always knew, okay, I'm gonna need Mick for all of this I want to do. Remember, she's a fashion designer.
Right. But she was
so
successful though.
And Mick bankrolls all of that.
Yeah.
He bought her that huge mansion.
Right. Child on the Twitter. What he put it on the
yeah. And she put it on Twitter, right?
Lord.
But look, I was so glad to get your perspective on that, because I was like, Bella was always the one who never was messy and stuff, but you're right, she played the long game.
The long game. She played the long game because she knew she was going to need Mick for all the ambitions that she had. And Roz, yes, she's tired of Bella. She wished Bella wasn't in his life, but she understands that Bella will always be in his life. And I know a lot of readers hate her. They're tired of her. They want Mick to just kick her to the curb, but Mick is not going to do that because before Roz, the only of the baby mothers he truly loved was Bella.
Was her, right?
And you can't turn, and he's not the type going to turn that off. So he's gonna, and Roz understands that, and Roz is strong enough that she knows that Bella isn't going to supplant her in Mick's life in any way. So I'm going to keep Bella around, even though people hate her, but she's important to Mick and to
Gloria.
And to Gloria. Yes, Gloria's mother. And so she'll probably still be around, even though a lot of readers are tired of Bella Kane. I understand.
But I can see that though, because like you said, Mick doesn't love easily, and that was the only other person that he did love, and that's why he had a special fondness for his daughter, for Gloria, because of how he felt about her,
because of Bella Kane. So she'll probably stick around, but Roz knows, she knows her self-worth. Roz knows.
And that's what I love too about her and Trina, is that because even with all the rumors about Reno cheating, Trina always said he would never do that to me.
Right.
So she doesn't even entertain it, because even when Jimmy Mack used to say things like, "Why do you put up with it?" She used to put him in his place, like
right. Well, because the flirting has Reno with a terrible reputation,
right?
And I could understand a lot of women not putting up with that. Trina doesn't put up with it, but she knows that that's Reno, right? And no matter what you try to do, Reno will be Reno. And that's where it stands now, I think.
Well, you did a great job with one of I think the best lines that Reno told Trina. I can't remember what book it was, but she said, "I want a man who doesn't always looking at other women." He said, "Well, you want a blind motherfucker."
That is so true.
When I read that, I'm like, say that, because it is so true. Oh my God. She couldn't say anything. She couldn't say anything because it was like she's
fact.
Real fact.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you remember. I don't even know if you remember writing that, but that was
no, I remember. Because I remember my husband, when we first got married, he was that, we told him, he's looking. I remember that.
But you know what I always tell my husband, I don't even mind you looking, because I appreciate a good looking guy too. Right? It's how you do it, as long as you're not like disrespectful in it.
Right. I had to have that conversation with my husband. God rest his soul. Wonderful man.
But you when you wrote that line for Reno, and it was so Reno. That line was so him.
Yeah.
Because he was like, if he had eyes, he
line based on experience. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, I love that. But back to Mick. Another thing that he's with the women, but another thing is with his children, especially in the beginning. He was not there for them. They all had emotional trauma from him not being around. Teddy had a good, strong mother. Oh, and that's what I was going to ask you too. Are we going to start seeing her more in Teddy's books?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we're gonna see more of Teddy's mother. I've neglected her because it was so much going on. But yes, we're going to see more of Teddy's mother. She's still around.
Yeah,
She
because
got
we always
Yeah.
thought that they had a good relationship. So I'm like I see him having a relationship with her in his
Right.
in his world.
Right.
But so it would be good to see her in the books. But yeah, with the children, and you shot this again with Adrian.
Oh, yes.
When Mick had to do the unthinkable.
Yes. Yes. Now that was a tough one to write too. But it was between Adrian or Roz.
Right.
And he had to make a decision. That was one of the earlier books, Mick books. And he had to make a decision. And the decision he made was well, we know what the decision was.
Right.
So it was that was a
like
one.
oh my gosh, I was so shocked. And then but you know what was interesting is how he gave Sal a hard time about Sprig.
Yeah.
But then he turned around and had to do
the same
what
thing.
he had to do.
Something similar. So
they all had, and I did this on purpose, they all had those tough moments, that what would you do moments, you know, and that they all, and the decisions, a lot of people would say, oh, that was the right decision. A lot of people say, no way could I do that.
Right.
You know, it would have been like tough wife. I'm going with child, but you know, he made the decision. Reno made that similar decision, but in a different way, you know.
Oh,
so
yeah,
a
with
different outcome for sure. But
we already know nobody is coming between Trina and not even his kids.
That's
right.
Yeah, we already knew that when Trina was like saying, I'll sacrifice myself. He wasn't even trying to hear that. He was like,
no, he wasn't doing it. He wasn't doing it. You were with them poor children sitting there. That's Reno.
Yes, but I have to ask you too, and a couple people asked this in the audience. What made you decide to go the route you did with Joy?
Do what now? I'm sorry.
With Joy is with Mick's son Joy to kill him off.
Oh, Joy. To my Mick's son, Joy. Yeah. What made me do that was because I felt that Joey was going nowhere fast. And I felt that with his character, I couldn't continue down the road that he had gone down. I could have made him this great guy and everything, but that's just not the road he was going down. I know a lot of people were very sad to see Joey, and a lot of people were quite happy to see Joey go. But I felt that it was time for him to leave the stage. I was tired of writing about him because he was becoming like a whiner.
Yeah.
And he was and so you could write whiner, you know, everybody have a whiner in their family. You could write a whiner, but just so much of it. And so I was saying, okay, time for them to for him to, you know, exit stage left. And let's do it in such a way though. I never dreamed, don't get me wrong, that Donnie would be the one. But when Donnie became the one, it just solidified a lot, a whole lot. But it was time. I felt it was time. That's why I got rid of Joey.
And but at first I thought that when he ended up with
the older woman,
I thought that you were taking him in a role where he was going to like, you know, be redeemed and grow up and all of this. And then when he was betrayed, we're like, oh my goodness, here we. But I still didn't see this coming because it's all about, you know, family and family bonds and stuff. So it was unthinkable that him and Donnie would, you know, have that kind of tension.
Well, but that's life, right? That's why with writing, you don't want them to see it coming. At some point, now, I think where it really hurt people to their heart sort of thing was that Tommy Grace breakup.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah, it
I
did.
felt
Yeah.
that was so human. But a
Mhm.
lot of people didn't want it to be that
Yeah.
human, you know.
Yeah.
And joy is the same way. That is so human. But a lot of people wanted it to, you know, continue the way it was continuing. But the problem with writing is that you have got to keep moving the ball forward.
Right. Right.
And sometimes it's going to mean that some characters will get lost, you know, in the shuffle, but you be careful. I try my best to be careful. I'm not trying to write to offend. I'm writing for people to enjoy. So
Right.
you have to kind of balance that too. You know, I'm definitely not trying to, you know, nobody, I'm not going to be knocking off Trina anytime soon or Reno.
Oh, that you
Oh,
know what
no,
that was
don't say that.
exactly. Yeah, I'm about to say
If I
that.
do that, it's
You-
over, right?
Oh, no.
That would be over. That would be
Yeah.
over.
It's over. I know.
But
I
then you say-
understand.
but
I
you
understand.
can't-
So no,
you-
I'm not gonna. It won't be going in those directions.
Thank
But
you
you-
for that, because you
Yeah,
know
thank
Trina
you.
is
You're
the
welcome.
patriarch for all of us. Like
Right.
she is the ride or die for real, the
Correct.
true one.
Correct.
But you
And
can't-
Roz and Mick, yeah, correct.
You can't please everybody, because when you think about it,
Mhm.
people were displeased with I just forgot that child name. Tommy's wife. Just
Grace.
skipped my mind.
Grace.
With Grace.
Uh-huh.
When he first was like, oh, we think Liv, was that her name? Liv? People preferred the one that was
Liz. Mhm.
Yes, Liz. That she was
Mhm.
she was better for him.
Oh
And
yeah, I
then-
remember that now.
Yeah, and then it
Mm-hmm.
just and then it went from she not being with him to then them breaking up, and people upset about that, and then when they need to be back together, so it was kind of like you can't pick and choose. You know?
Right. Well, I was trying to be keep it a little more real that you
Right.
know these
'Cause that happens
relationships are
too.
messy, huh?
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah,
too.
they were
Relationships
messy,
are messy. Yeah.
and so but Grace is not easy to write about because she's so understated.
Mhm.
And when you have someone who's understated,
Mhm.
that requires, you know, a more thoughtful writing approach. But here I am writing books about these bombastic, you know,
Mhm.
tough, you
Mhm.
know, gutter talking people. And at the same time, I have this church going, sweet
Right.
Grace, you know. And so I'm trying to, I have to try to balance that. It's not easy. When these mob books, you've got to be true to that culture. You know, I can't write a mob book and try to turn the mobster into a choir boy.
Right.
It's not possible. It's
Right.
not happening. So I've got to write the mob. That's been like a big give and take with me because I'm nothing like these characters. You know what I mean? In my personal life, I'm
Right.
nothing like this. And people think that the writer is like that. You know,
Mhm.
and I'm nothing like that, you know, but I try to inject some sense of morality in these characters, but at the same time, their profession is their profession. And so
Right.
I've got to write their profession at least as honestly as I can. Because when I first started out, I was writing under my own name, and it wasn't, and one book I started writing, it was called If You Wanted the Moon. One of my in fact, my first romance after I started with Mallory Monroe. And that book was so dishonest to me because I was basically writing them as if they were two Christian people who were just weak, but it wasn't about that. These people were really hard, you know, had hard lives. And so I just had to be true to the characters. That's the point I'm making. I have to be true to the characters.
And on that note, because I was like I told you, I was going back through some of the old chats and comments and stuff like that, just so I can get a feel for what people were thinking about the characters. I noticed one person had said with Reno that they wanted him to be more, because they were saying it's called Mob Boss, but he's not really mob. But if you think about it, he is. He doesn't have that title now, but he still is very much in that world. And
with his casino. I mean, who you think ran casinos for most of the casinos' lives were mobsters. And not necessarily in the sense of, you know, I have this organization like Mick. I have this organization. I have this underboss. That wasn't Reno briefly took over his father's organization when his father was assassinated. But generally speaking, no, the casino life for Reno is that kind of life too. And then he has to deal with all this going on in his family, you know. And Sale, who, you know, denied being a mob boss for years.
Right.
Now he doesn't even bother. But he denied it for years, if you will recall.
And they're still getting a lot of the backlash from when Reno's father was the mob boss. So he's still very much entrenched in that world. And I think that's what some of the comments were when they were talking about that. So I brought it up because I noticed it was a lot of activity on that post back then. And I wanted to get your perspective on it. But will we Facebook, you said, will we get to know more about Lucky's personality?
Yes. Absolutely. That's Sal and Gemma's son. Yes.
Right.
We will get to know more about Lucky's personality. Yeah. Because I think Carmine has overshadowed him a little, but when they're together, he has to kind of defend Carmine and his sewing and all that.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Since you brought that up, what made you go that route with Carmine? Did you want just him to be eccentric or?
Yeah, different. I saw in Carmine as I was developing his character, he was a genius, but he was tough. But I wanted to balance that with something that's not considered genius or tough. And I thought of Florence Nightingale. Reno continually called him Florence Nightingale. Had nothing to do with sewing.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that was how he was viewing his son.
Right.
And so I wanted to interject that contention between Carmine and Reno so that it would just give some ideal of this is the kind of kid Carmine is. He is so different than anything we've seen before, you know. And that's why I did it. Just that balance, that give and take with he and son, father and son.
Okay.
Yeah.
Geraldine is asking that scene. Oh, she said that scene when Roz threw his clothes out on the line, thinking Mick cheated on her was hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was an interesting book. Yeah.
Yes. And Valerie is saying, so is Gloria's mother still in the picture? Yeah, you already answered that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Very much so.
Oh, man. And then, let's see. Will Mick's mysterious lady friend come back in the picture? The one that was on the plane with him. Oh, I forgot about that.
I forgot about her.
Yeah, I did too. Yes. Well, Valerie, that's a very good question. Stay tuned. That's Stay tuned.
Nicole is saying, thank you so much for keeping us entertained. Much love and appreciation for you.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you.
We were in there, it reiterated what we said about mixed children have so many daddy issues.
Daddy issues, that's it. That's true.
Definitely. They saying you couldn't trust Joy. And even though he loved his father, he had some really he made some
yes.
He made some questionable decisions.
Right. The others were able to reconcile it a little. Joy never, not so much.
France says I hated that Tommy and Grace broke up. It was so hard to read that book.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now when I look back on it, it was very I think it pushed their relationship even further once they got back together.
Yeah, it helped make them, to me, they're the strongest couple. If you think about it now, Grace and Tommy are the strongest couple.
Yeah.
When I say strong now, Katina, don't get me wrong. I don't mean strong in strength. I mean strong in bond. Right.
Because Tommy said, because every time they moved, he moved with them. He was like, we're going to town. Everybody going to town.
Everybody going.
That's true.
We all get in the car.
That's true. They're saying, was it hard to write that line in the book when Tommy and Grace would take her out?
Yeah, when she remarried. That was a line in the book where Tommy was so angry that they were trying to keep his child away from him.
Mm-hmm.
That he was saying something about I'll take you out, and that one was I wish I could get that line back because it went too far, but that was how he was feeling at the time.
Right.
And I wrote it, yeah.
And something like that will take you there, yeah. Especially somebody in that world.
But he didn't mean it to go that far, but that's how far it went, yeah.
Purple Jam Girl saying, "Well, we forgot about Tony. Will Tony Sinatra get a book and a new lady?" Yes,
he's going to get another book because I thought his character is very interesting. A new lady, I don't know yet. He has Sam, but time will tell. Time will tell. I'm not sure about the new lady angle, but time will tell.
Yeah, because he needs his lady love too. He needs somebody. Right. But I really didn't like the other one for him. No. So I'm glad that fizzled out.
Talking about Rachel or whatever.
Yeah, like
the school teacher. Yeah,
the school teacher. Yes,
she was a little too big for him. But
when it just took too long to develop.
Work.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get to Charles and Janae because we're getting long in time. Okay, so Charles, I love his character. I love the first book where Janae was introduced and he was introduced. And I just love their relationship.
Yeah, I do too.
It's
and
like
they had been sick and had been, in and out of the hospitals and everything. They think they got it solved now, but who knows? But yeah, Charles is to me the head of the family.
Right.
Everybody think Mick is, of the Sinatras and the Gabrinis, but I view Charles as the head of the family.
And I do too. Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah. Because he's the level-headed one but he's, like I said, he also is very much a Sinatra because he will bring it just as fierce, and he's very fierce as far as his family. Right. He loves really hard. He doesn't let anybody, including his kids, disrespect Janae.
That's right.
Remember, he knocked. Who was that? Donnie. He knocked out.
Yeah.
He said,
yeah. He came in the house. He said, "This one of your." What did he say?
Yes.
He was like, "This one of your hoes or something." I was like, "Wow."
Yes, I remember that.
Yes.
Very, and I like that. And Charles is the most consistent.
Yeah.
His character doesn't waver. When they come with the nonsense, he shuts it down. Even with his tenants, same with his family.
Yeah, right. They say Charles is the gangster of the family.
I agree. That's where Mick get it all from. Charles.
Right.
You saw Charles in action.
Yes, they say Mick always defers to Charles, right?
And that's true.
I love that
true.
But you know what I like though, when Charles was in the hospital and Janae, they were talking about it afterwards, and Janae was saying that at first she didn't agree with Mick to take Charles out, but she said, "You know how Mick is," and Charles was like, "No, you have to say when it comes to me." But and I love that he was telling her, you're my partner.
You're in charge. That's right.
Love that. Beautiful scene. One of my standout scenes between in that series was when Janae, when Bonita was a baby, and I think it was a nanny with them, and they went on an errand or something, and Janae left them in the car and went into the cleaners.
The explosion,
And the explosion. Oh, and she running trying to get to her bed. Oh my God. She was like, oh man, I was screaming like, no, not the baby. Oh my goodness. That was such a good scene. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was a good one. I remember.
Oh man, it's like that was had my heart palpitating. They're all saying that they love Big Daddy, they love Charles.
Yeah. I enjoy writing Big Daddy. I don't write him enough, but I enjoy writing.
I missed him and his family. That's why I asked you about Donnie too, because I'm sure he would love for his son to get it. Well, you said that he's grown some. He has his own business
now, right? Yeah. He's doing better, but there's no lady yet, so I've got to get him hooked up.
Yes. And how is the relationship with him and Ashley? Are they still very close?
They are, but remember when Ashley moved to Jersey to be with Monk Paletti, that it kind of changed. You know, they
Okay.
were trying to do a little business together at that little filling station.
Oh yeah, I
Little
forgot about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
yeah, but so it changed because now that she's remember that Monk Paletti runs
Right. That
Bonaducci crime
right.
family. Remember
Right.
the old man put him in charge.
Right.
And so he's running that, and she's now his wife. And a
Right.
lot of those wives are, she's got to work her way through that maze, And so it's been, she's had her hands full, but we'll see. When I
But
do the
I
Donnie, we
love
can
how
do another month book.
yeah, I love how she's grown. You've
Oh,
done a
me
great
too.
job of bringing her, along because she at first was another one that was all over the place.
She was out there.
Yeah.
But they didn't know that her background made her out there, as opposed to Carly, who went to
Right.
Harvard and did everything right.
Right.
Ashley was like considered the black sheep of the family, so to speak.
Right.
But Monk saw that. Monk was the only one, and the women in town, they would pick at Ashley as a whore and all of that. But Monk saw through all of that, and he was the only one who did. And I thought it was a wonderful love story.
It was. I love their book.
One of my favorites.
They're a moral man, even though he's this mob boss.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why they call him the Monk.
Right. And but you know what I love though, when he was with the family and he saw the way they were dismissing Ashley, and he spoke up. I'm like,
he sure did. He spoke up. He sure did against Mick and Charles.
Sure did.
Yes, he sure did. So.
Love that scene. Love that. And he showed what he was made of. And that
scene. That's so true.
The Facebook user said, I like the Lacey with Tony and the little boy. That was very well written. The boy's conversation with Big Daddy at the home he was in.
I think she's talking about Samantha and her son.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, who is with Tony. Right. And the way Big Daddy took to the little boy.
Yeah, that was nice. I like that too.
And the way Big Daddy took to the little boy. I think that's what she was talking about.
Yeah, I love that. I like that too. Yeah. And I love the relationship between Charles and all of his children, but I love the relationship between him and Brent.
I do too, because Brent is his oldest. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the police chief. Yeah.
Yeah. And when Charles had to tell him, he said, your father, because when Brent was telling him he couldn't go in there when they had Benita and I think Janae in there too, was it, or just Benita? Oh, it was just Benita because it was they had took over the school or something. And Charles, and Charles was going in, and Brent was trying to be the police chief, and Charles looked at him like, "You don't get out of my way."
Oh yes, I remember.
Oh man! And then the other one that Mick actually kind of like took under his wing. What's Charles' other son? Robert. It's Robert. Yeah.
Robert,
Bobby. Yeah, Bobby. Yeah.
Bobby. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Robert, but yeah, they call him Bobby Sinatra. Yeah. He's the mayor.
He's the mayor now, so he's come a long way too. Yeah.
Oh yes, he used to sell drugs.
Yes.
The mayor. Yeah.
And then he got in trouble, and then he needed Mick to help get him out
was
of
like,
it.
nope.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Right. That's a lot, boy. Those are some of the old days. Those
are the old days, yes. And what's going on with Gloria now?
Gloria and Oz from Jump have been having trouble in their marriage. And they continue to. I don't know what the resolution will be, but it's not looking good. Because she continually runs home to Mick.
Back to Jersey.
Yeah, back to Philly every time.
Back to Philly, yeah.
Yes, every time there's an issue in their marriage. And Oz is tired of it. Gloria is getting tired of it. So I don't know the future for those two. They may end up separating and going their separate ways, and Oz getting someone new and Gloria getting someone new. I almost was going to do a series on about when divorces in when they get a divorce and they're starting over series, but we'll see. it has, you know, if I get a few thoughts, you know, together and all of that, then we'll see.
Because she's been through a lot too, and she's and the same thing with going back to the daddy issues, where remember she always was with the older men who
remind her of Nick in
yeah,
certain ways, and because remember Oz is a mob boss too.
right.
You know, he got his thing
Yeah,
going
real
in
boss.
Greece.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
Right.
so
But that's why I thought that's why I had so much. I was glad that they got together, because I thought that would be the perfect person for her. But
it would have been, but because Gloria has unresolved issues she's working out herself. I don't know if she and he were the perfect match to begin with, but we'll see. We'll see. But they've been having problems. It's been like mentioned in different books, but it hasn't been fully explored yet.
Because I would like to see her get her at least kind of happy, because she's been through so much, and get her settled. Because even where her mother is not really a big support.
Don't help.
Not of her. Bella Kane is a big supporter of Bella Kane. Bella looks out for Bella.
That's it.
Yes. Amy said from them to straighten their tails up, Oz and Gloria. Yeah, we do. Okay. And we need them to straighten up, but we need Amelia and Hammer.
Hammer to straighten up.
Yeah, Amelia is okay. It's Hammer. Yeah, it's Hammer.
Right. That's both of them are kind of on the brink, but who knows? We'll see.
Because she don't put up with no mess. That's for sure. She
has his issues too. Yeah.
Yeah. She said, "You go do your thing. I'll be over here." And
that's kind of how they've been doing it. They've been doing their own thing, and sometimes that worked out for them, but now it's kind of coming to a head.
Yeah, especially if they have a child. You know, you want
Hannibal. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we this was a very, very good conversation. There's so many of them. We could go on forever and ever and ever. But yeah, I love talking to you about it, getting your perspective on the different things in the series, and I look forward to more to come.
Thank you, and I really appreciate it. And I don't do interviews, as you know. So
yes, I'm very glad that you said yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to consider this the interview. I did it. It's done. It lasted 2 hours and a half.
Yes. Wait a minute, I'm 2 for 2 because SW Frank that I do, she doesn't do interviews.
Doing me either. See, SW Frank doesn't. Yeah. So I'm done now. I've done my interview.
And I really appreciate it.
Geraldine.
I truly do. I truly appreciate you coming on, and I'm sure everyone in the group does as well. Yeah, and Katina, she, I'm sure you do too.
Oh my God! Yeah,
we were both looking forward to this.
So much.
Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it, and I enjoyed myself. Thank you, Ebony. I really enjoyed myself. So thank you so much.
You're welcome, and
thank you, Lady Purple
Like
Jam.
I said, I can't wait to read the next. I gotta catch up though. Like I said, I have to go back and catch up some. I can't even remember.
I understand. It's a lot to read.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember what's the last one I read. I think the last one I read was you know what? I think it was Alex's book, which is another favorite of mine, him and Reno. But yeah, so
House on Fire or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So much love. Love your books, love your work, and continue to support you.
Thank you. And you guys have a blessed day.
All right, you too. Thank you, everyone in the audience. Thank you. Have a great weekend.